In Breath of the Wild, the creators intended their game to be entirely open to speedrunning, thanks in no small part to this non-linear design of the campaign and the intuitive tutorial stage. Naturally, the speedrun community has found, and continues to find, new and interesting ways to shave seconds off of their times. Some of these strategies that they have found are easy to pull off and advantageous to learn for players whether or not they're into speedrunning. Other strategies are relatively complex and offer a high risk reward to these speedrunners. Now, speedrunning in and of itself is a very niche pastime, but in my opinion, Breath of the Wild is the most accessible game to do so. Before we begin this video, I'm just going to give a little disclaimer here. I am not claiming to be the best damn speedrunner ever, and I don't even claim to be the best Breath of the Wild player ever. Also, this video won't teach you the most advanced speedrunning techniques that'll win you the world's record in a week. But, theoretically, armed with knowledge, a handful of strategy tips, and a lot of time investment, anyone could be a great speedrunner. But first, what exactly is a speedrun? It's the act of playing a video game from start to finish, faster than the developer's intended time of completing a game. Some involve the use of glitches in the interest of saving time. Others involve interesting strategies that take advantage of developer oversights. So that's basically what this video is for, to get people interested in that speedrun. To clarify, I don't even claim to be the world's greatest speedrunner by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, full disclosure, I hardly consider myself even a half-decent runner. I'm in it for the thrill, to sort of rejuvenate my love for Breath of the Wild, my personal favorite game. And at the time of recording, my personal best is 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 2 seconds, which is almost twice as long as the world's record. This video is not me trying to brag or talk down to you, the viewer. Instead, it's to inform and to encourage. I don't consider myself an incredible player at all, but like I said before, with the proper know-how and time dedication, anyone can be awesome. So there's a lot of things that make speedrunning so fascinating. First of all, it makes an old game feel like new. With the self-imposed restrictions and a competitive outlook, you're no longer playing Zelda as you know it. This time, you're playing next level Breath of the Wild. Speedrunning also teaches you to improve your own skills in the game, forcing you to make the most of what's available. And in some of these games, letting you find the fastest route of the most effective equipment and strategies. In some cases, it's hard to go back to playing the game like you used to. Gone are the days of relying on full heal foods and endgame equipment. This time, you have to optimize what little equipment you can get, and become more familiar with how the game's supposed to work. But the biggest reason why I'm personally so into speedrunning now is the sense of accomplishment that you get. We all know the feeling, that rush that you get when you kill a Lionel for the first time. It feels awesome, but after killing hundreds upon hundreds of them with your 5-shot bow and barbarian set, it feels less awesome, but that's okay. With the speedrun, you still retain that sense of accomplishment, that elation all over again. But this time, the thrill is much longer lived because, to this day, new techniques and skips are being discovered by the community. Some of these are trickier to pull off than others, but that challenge remains, so long as you have the guts to attempt it. Speedruns in Breath of the Wild begin once you create a new game, and end when you deal the final blow to Dark Beast Ganon. Now there are 4 main categories. There's the normal speedrun, where you start the game and make your way to the end, as usual, then doing that again but on Master Mode, or there is also playing it on normal but with the help of Amiibo. When you use Amiibo, you give that chance of getting advantages, such as useful ingredients, special armor, and most commonly considered, Epona, who's thought to be the fastest horse that you can get at this early stage in the game. And also you can do Amiibo with Master Mode as well. Now there are 2 kinds of speedruns that I'm familiar with. There are casual speedruns and competitive speedruns. The casual speedrun is that you finish the game for the sake of accomplishing it, so that's kind of like right up my alley, and it's perfect for people that are just starting out. While the competitive speedruns aim to finish the game in a record time. A casual run's restrictions are solely dependent on the player's comfort zone, while a competitive runner is always actively deciding which choices they should make on the fly, keeping track of favorable RNG, momentum, skips, things like that. Usually, a competitive speedrun used without amiibo would take place in an hour or less. And with amiibo, it would be about 50 minutes or less, given the inherent advantages that come with it. As well, people that try to aim for the best times play the digital Wii U version because it loads faster, and the German version of that because it makes dialogue appear slightly faster, for reasons which we still don't understand today. So, the whole point of this video is the mindset. The first gripe that people have, and that I've had because I was very skeptical when it came to speedrunning, is that it's not really that they're difficult, it's just that they're overwhelming, because you have to consider that you have to wait through the first cutscene every time you start a speedrun. This is a logical thought process, but it's unnecessary. The first thing that you need to get in your head when you start doing runs is to remember, you are not going to beat your first run within the first initial 5 to 10 hours. When you start out, you're not aiming for time, you're aiming for completion of the run. This is my hearty recommendation to you. If you're starting out for the first 1 or 10 times, never reset the run. Finish as usual. Because the more you finish, the more experience you get as a player. And since you're not going for the world's record, you're going to go for the practice. Figuring out your route, learning the skips, the glitches, visualizing every move that you make so that you'll always be time efficient. That being said, start out slowly, doing the safe skips and the safe strategies. What I mean by safe are the tactics that take up more time than the advanced techniques, but are far easier to pull off and prevent you from dying and wasting more time. Sometimes this means spending time getting Majora's Mask so that you can wander the castle freely and getting a feel for the layout. As well, maybe grabbing all 3 pieces of the Phantom set on the DLC. It may seem like a huge time waster, but it'll at least give you the needed firepower to give you confidence when you're saving durability against the final boss rush. The need for practice is particularly vital when it comes to taking on that boss rush. I have personally died many times before. Ask anyone that knows me. One of the most videos on my channel, I believe it is the 3rd most currently, the Ultimate Challenge, was the result of me dying over and over and over again, stretched out over many play sessions over 3 days. But that's fine. Take that time to learn the movesets, understand the timings, and make sure that you have proper equipment before reaching the autosave in the Sanctum. So a couple of strategies to keep in mind. We're making the assumption that this is your first couple of runs, or you have not even tried it in the first place. Remember, you're not going for that world's record. In fact, you're probably not even be aiming for less than 2 hours. Because it's a speedrun, you'll be running with a single stamina wheel and 3 hearts, so you should fully expect that you're gonna die, and you're gonna die a lot. But remember, it's more valuable that if you spend 3 to 5 hours on a run that you eventually complete, than getting salty at 58 minutes and restarting the run, at least in this stage in your progression as a player. This applies to speedrunning in any game really, so if you were to quit prematurely as the result of a bad run, or at least a perceived bad run, so early, your growth will be a lot slower than someone that sticks with it to the end. And also, since time isn't a huge issue initially, take a moment to familiarize yourself with the routes through the plateau, to Hyrule Castle, through the interior, and finally the boss. This helps develop muscle memory and makes you more efficient, saving time. One thing I recommend is to learn the most basic skips, such as stasis jump timings, shield jump timings, and fall damage glitches, that sort of thing. But the most important thing about a speedrun is that information is your most powerful weapon. The more you know, the more comfortable you'll be during the run. There are plenty of resources online right now, and I'll do my best to disclose whatever I can in the video's description. And since you're on YouTube anyway, if you're struggling with a certain part of the run, or you feel like you can be saving time on a part that you're struggling with, look up speedruns online and see how the best speedrunners in the world handle those same situations, and take some of those ideas that they have and apply it to yourself, whatever you're comfortable with attempting. For example, it might be that you're having trouble getting to the Cryonis trial without needing to heal so much for your cold damage. I really can't stress that point enough, really. Like, if you're new to it, like me, The scope of your ability to make choices and your familiarity with the game and how speedruns work is extremely limited. Use the internet to your advantage, and check out some of the links below. Also, if you're failing often, take time to figure out what you're doing wrong. It might be that you're making the same mistakes over and over again, or maybe you're being detected by guardians when you could have positioned yourself so that you didn't have to. In your first runs, take this time to learn the enemy's movements, behaviors, stuff like that. From my personal experience, not having enough damage to take down the blights quick enough makes me go at a sluggish pace, and overall it just kills my momentum and it kills my mood. Always ensure that you have at least a level 3 attack boost, which is a combination of your armor and food buffs. Also, when it comes to Calamity Ganon, sound is very important, so it's far easier to get the parries down when you actually have those audio clues available for you. What's more, don't be afraid to take advantage of Majora's Mask as a precaution, since it'll prevent enemies from being hostile towards you. Remember that it doesn't apply to Guardians, but once you're comfortable enough, skip Majora's Mask and learn how to do stasis jumps across the field. As well, don't feel the need to try as many advanced skips in succession, or at least advance from your perspective. Sometimes it pays off to get one done and then use that momentum to carry on doing a much safer strategy. And here's the final point about doing a speedrun, and I really can't stress this enough. Have fun with this. Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, is one of the best games ever made, and my personal favorite game of all time. Don't sour the experience if you're on a tilt, if you're making the same mistakes or failing the same jump over and over again. Instead, take a break, watch another speedrun, take notes, take a walk, then get back in there with your newfound determination. What's more, put on some music, or at least for the sections where you don't need sound. Since, Breath of the Wild's soundtrack is pretty good, but your brain wants some audio variety. You know what kinds of music that you like, so before you start your run, burn a mixtape with all your favorite tracks from the 90s, or, set up a YouTube playlist because you're a youthful guy in your prime. Speaking of audio variety, if you can, get into a voice chat and converse with your fellow friends. Don't think that just because you're on the road to becoming the speedrunning god, that you have to close yourself off from society. Remember, gaming is a hobby, and while Breath of the Wild may not feature multiplayer, there always has been since launch day that magical sense of community. Take advantage of that. And that's basically all I can say to you guys for now. There's no rush to break the world's record or even complete the run in less than an hour. You're taking on one of the biggest challenges in Breath of the Wild, and that sense of accomplishment that you derive from conquering it even the first time after 3 hours is so very, very satisfying. So guys, good luck, keep a positive attitude, get to practicing. I hope that sometime in the near future I'll actually be able to maybe catalog some skips that I can share with you guys. But until then, keep practicing, and before long you'll be polishing off your plaque from the Guinness Book of World Records in no time at all. See you later, guys.